Welcome to Virtual Flight. A couple of days ago somebody asked the question, should I buy a physical yoke or should I try and fly with a virtual yoke in X-Plane? That's a difficult question to answer because it's all very subjective, but what we're going to do today is we're going to fly a yoked aircraft. I'm going to select the Beach Baron. We're going to fly purely using the virtual yoke and all the virtual instruments in the cockpit. The reason why it's a difficult one to answer is
it's what you're prepared to accept as a trade-off. Some like to have the tactile feedback of a physical stick, others prefer the total immersion that VR gives you, the ability to look around, plan your circuits and just basically admire the scenery. Personally, I think the beauty of flight simming in virtual reality is the total immersion that it gives you, and one day, maybe in the next 2-3 years, we will have haptic feedback gloves to wear. We know people are working on them already, but they are a little bit expensive and a bit, in some cases, a bit Mickey Mouse. Nevertheless, that's where I believe the future lies, and that's the destination I am heading for.
But the point is, the rest of the cockpit is entirely as the aircraft developer intended it to be. So all the knobs and switches and levers are all in the right place. And so when it comes to becoming type ready for an aircraft, then you have a better chance with a virtual cockpit than you have with being restricted to the physical layout of the kit that you buy to build your simulator with.
So what you may wish to consider ending up with would be a physical stick and rudders. Forget the throttle quadrants and all the other gubbins that you have. Concentrate on the virtual cockpit.
So that's where I'm coming from. Of course, I'm a glider pilot, so I only have a stick, and actually it's a piece of cake with a stick, whether it's a center stick that you find in most gliders, or whether it's an offset stick that you sometimes find in modern airliners and jet fighters. A yoke is something slightly different. Now, I did have a try earlier on today before I decided to do this video, and I have to say, not being a power pilot,
I did find it a little trickier than using a virtual stick.
X-Plane, there's a little tick box that you can tick that says latch the yoke to the hand controllers. Now what that means is that when you reach out for the yoke or the stick or any other control, you press the trigger once and release it, and from that point on your hand is latched to the stick. Then you have to remember to pull the trigger again to unlatch it, because if you don't and you forget and you move your hand away,
the yoke will move with you and you'll either end up banking hard over to the right, or even worse, banking over to the right and diving at the ground at the same time.
My preferred method with a yoke is actually to unlatch it. Do not tick the box, which means I pull the trigger, control my stick. When I want to move to a flap lever or a throttle lever, I release the trigger, that immediately unlatches, and I can pull the various throttles and levers. Now,
and this to me is more realistic because it emulates the clenching of the fist to grab something and the releasing of the grip when you want to move on and do something else.
But the key thing is, the main thing I want to say today is, I've actually bitten the bullet, put the spectacle spacer in place, and I'm wearing my varifocal glasses inside the hood. Now, I haven't done this before because in a glider the controls are quite simplistic and they're quite easy to read. In a cockpit as complex as this, then obviously it's a lot harder to read. However, having said that, they are readable, which is brilliant, because in the Rift they weren't readable. They were just a mishmash. I'm not a power pilot. I have got absolutely no idea how to fly this thing, which is why I've started it with the engines running. Anyway, the purpose of the video, let's just try and control this aircraft, and let's go and do a bit of flying.
Just take the parking brake off and give it a few revs for a few seconds.
I am holding the yoke now. The virtual yoke. I don't have a physical stick. And yeah, so got it fairly straight. I'm just going to release it for a second.
In case anybody's wondering where we are, we're just coming out of Liverpool John Lennon Airport.
So there we have it. Can you control the aircraft just using your hands and the virtual yoke? Yes, you absolutely can. I'm not a power pilot. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Would you want to? That's a matter of personal choice. I can't influence that in any way, shape or form whatsoever. The one thing I would say though is this: if money's tight and it's a question of either or, personally, I would go for the virtual reality headset. This is a Quest 2, as you probably know. It's absolutely superb. The immersion you get is absolutely amazing. The 3D scenery is superb. I don't think you can go wrong. You can always add a yoke later if that's your personal preference. The main thing is, as I've said before, you get to see the cockpit in all its glory as the aircraft developers intended it. All the switches in the right place. You can reach down, you can touch them, you can set the flaps, you can set the throttle, you can do anything you want. And can you control it to any kind of extent? Right, in a minute I'm going to just edit this video and knock a bit out, and I'm going to go over the sea and I'm going to try some stall exercises and just generally throw the aircraft around a bit, just to prove that yes, you have absolute control over the aircraft just using your hands and a virtual yoke. So here we go, let's put it into an aggressive stall and see what happens. Oh no, sorry, that was a loop. Do apologise. Loop, then a roll out. Now we'll go into a stall. Go. Get some throttle back. Slow up the speed. Up goes the nose. Warning comes on. And we should be dropping any second now. And here we go. Bit of a wing drop there. Pull out the dive. So this is me having fun, also demonstrating that yes, you have absolute control of the aircraft, just using your hands and the virtual yoke. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I look forward to see you in the next one. In the meantime, decision time. Make the right one, guys. Go for virtual reality every time.